Imagine this. A struggling mechanic, covered in grease and dust, walks out of his tiny garage on a hot afternoon. His hands are rough, his clothes worn, but his heart is good. On the other side of town, a tired single mom pulls over on the roadside, her SUV steaming from the hood. She glances at her watch, already late for an important meeting, and her little boy in the back seat whispers, "Mom, are we going to be okay?" She forces a smile, though inside she feels helpless. And this is where their worlds collide. Stick with me until the end, because what happens between them will leave you believing in kindness, destiny, and second chances. And if stories like this touch your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more emotional journeys like this one. The man's name was Adil. He had always been known in his neighborhood as the honest mechanic, the one who charged less, worked more, and often fixed cars for free when people couldn't afford it. But truth be told, his own life was anything but easy. His little workshop barely paid the bills, and each night he went home to an empty room where loneliness echoed louder than silence. Yet every morning, he woke up with hope, telling himself that life would someday reward him for his honesty. The woman was Zoya, a single mother who had built walls around her heart after life had broken it too many times. A divorce, endless responsibilities, and the pressure of raising her young son alone had turned her into someone who wore strength like armor. But that day, when her SUV gave up on her, all her confidence cracked. She was on her way to finalize a company acquisition, a deal that could change the future of hundreds of employees who relied on her decisions. Yet there she was, stranded on the road, with no help in sight. When Adil saw her waving nervously near the SUV, he pulled over without hesitation. He approached with a warm smile that contrasted his rugged appearance. "Don't worry, sister," he said gently, "let's see what's going on here." Zoya hesitated. She wasn't used to trusting strangers, especially men. But something in his eyes, sincerity, humility, honesty, made her nod quietly. The bonnet lifted, smoke escaped, and Adil got to work. His hands moved swiftly, though his old tools struggled against the SUV's complex system. Sweat dripped from his forehead, and grease stained his already torn shirt. Minutes stretched into an hour, and Zoya stood nearby, watching not just a mechanic at work, but a man who was pouring his soul into helping someone he didn't even know. Her son peeked out the window, whispering, "Mom, he looks like a superhero." Finally, Adil closed the hood, exhaled deeply, and smiled. "Your car should run now," he said. Zoya reached into her purse, offering him money. But he shook his head firmly. "No. You're like a sister. I don't take money for helping family." She was taken aback. She was used to people expecting favors, expecting something in return. But here was a man, struggling himself, refusing payment out of sheer decency. That moment carved itself into her heart. Little did Adil know, Zoya wasn't just any woman. She was the CEO of a major automotive company, one preparing to launch a new division that would require a chief mechanic. For weeks, she had interviewed dozens of candidates, educated, polished, well-dressed professionals, but none had the spark she was looking for. None had that mix of honesty, dedication, and heart. Yet here, by pure chance, stood a man who embodied all of that without even knowing. Days later, when Adil returned to his workshop, a black SUV stopped at his door. Out stepped Zoya in her corporate attire, her son holding her hand. "Adil," she said softly, "I need your help again. But this time, not with a broken car." Confused, he listened as she revealed her identity, her company, and her vision. His jaw nearly dropped when she offered him the position of head mechanic, with a salary and benefits he had never even dreamed of. At first, he resisted. "Madam, I'm just a small-time mechanic. I'm not educated like your people. I don't belong in fancy offices." But Zoya looked him straight in the eye and replied, "You belong wherever honesty, hard work, and kindness are valued. And in my company, that's exactly what I need most." It wasn't just a job offer, it was destiny knocking on his door. The months that followed changed everything. Adil moved from his crumbling garage into a respected workshop where his skills were not only recognized but celebrated. He became a mentor to younger mechanics, teaching them not just about engines, but about honesty and heart. Zoya, meanwhile, found in him not just an employee but a trusted friend, someone who reminded her that kindness still existed in the world. Her son adored him, and in time, the bond between them grew deeper than any of them had expected. And so, a roadside breakdown became the start of a story of hope, trust, and new beginnings. Adil, the poor mechanic who once doubted his worth, discovered that his integrity was the key to a life he had always dreamed of. And Zoya, the single mom who thought she had to carry the world alone, found an ally who proved that sometimes the greatest people enter your life when you least expect it. So if you're watching this right now, let their story remind you, kindness is never wasted, and what you give freely always comes back in ways you can't imagine. If this touched your heart, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe for more stories that remind us all, miracles often begin with small acts of kindness.